The list of nominees for the 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is out.
14 performers are nominated this year, including Cyndi Lauper, Mariah Carey, and Fish.
Mariah Carey. Okay. All right. I've hated Mariah Carey since she first showed up on the screen.
Rhythm and blues, funk, not really rock music.
Next one on the list is Mariah Carey. What are you going to say?
I'm going to say a nay.
I'm going to say nay.
All right. Mariah was never my jam. And especially around Christmas time.
If this was the Rock and Roll Christmas Hall of Fame, yeah, of course, she'd be number one on the list.
But I'm going to say, take a back seat, Mariah.
I agree.
Mariah Carey, or Mariah Scary, as Michael Nolan calls her. No, no, no. Get her out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What a joke.
Mariah Carey. No, Mariah Carey is R&B and soul, pop, and hip-hop. You look up these names, and that's what you find out about them. I am just so fired up and upset about this.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and why it seems like they don't want Mariah Carey inducted. Looking at their latest roster of inductees, it was shocking to see that Mariah Carey wasn't a part of the list, especially when she has had more #1 singles than everyone who was up against her combined. However, it isn't shocking that many rock fans do not want nor see her as a part of the genre, despite her many contributions over her 4-decade-long career. Before Mariah became a household name, she was working with the likes of Michael Bolton. The two had become great friends during Mariah's debut and collaborated on an intimate soft rock ballad titled We're Not Making Love Anymore.
Nobody knew who she was quite yet, but I had heard her voice. And we did a song I wrote, We're Not Making Love Anymore, a song I wrote for Barbra Streisand. Patti LaBelle and I recorded it together, which is amazing. And we didn't record it. Somebody found the audio track from that live performance from many, many years ago. And so people ask me a lot, what was that track you recorded with Mariah? It was just one time.
Yeah.
But I see her at all kinds of events all around the world. And
you're like, look at Mariah now.
Yeah.
Go, girl.
She was like 12 in that picture. Just amazing talent. I love her voice. And love
her voice.
Mariah has frequently stated that she would listen to the radio under the blankets as a child to fall asleep. She would flip through all the stations as a way to get a pulse on where music was headed. Her first concert was Pat Benatar, and she was always very fond of the rock genre.
First concert, who was your first concert?
My very first concert was Pat Benatar.
That's a good first concert.
I love her.
That's a good first concert.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rock influence is very visible when you look at how Mariah was styled early in her career. She would frequently be seen sporting leather jackets and big hair, very much like a female version of Michael Bolton. After graduating high school, Mariah moved to New York City with her good friend Clarissa. The two worked odd jobs and slept on the floor doing everything they could to make it big. They had always dreamt of becoming famous singers, and when Mariah made it, she didn't forget about her. While working on her 1995 album Daydream, Mariah was simultaneously working on a secret alt-rock project called Someone's Ugly Daughter. She had gotten Clarissa to be the face of the project, while Mariah wrote and sang background on all the material. She also helped direct the music videos and create the cover art.
Yeah, there is an alt-rock album, yes.
Your friend Clarissa was also on vocals, and so it's kind of a mix. But there's a version you said you were seeking out where it's really just your lead vocals. I just was wondering how that quest was going for that version.
Quest for that version is going great. We actually have it.
Ooh.
Because this was my outlet, and nobody knew about it. And most people, you know, I'd rather they don't even know about it till we decide exactly what happens from that quest of finding those vocals. But it was literally, I would just write these things, say, can you play like to the guitar player who happened to be there while we're working on records like Always Be My Baby and One Sweet Day and, you know, eventually Fantasy and whatever from that era, because I was just like, I don't know. It's not that I was like, oh, I can do that, but it was also like this, it was such an outlet. It was just like, let me just do this, because after the session, why not? There's energy, and we were like working for whatever, 15, 16 hours on like scrutinizing stuff. And then it was like, we just made this record all at the same time, just sitting there. I would write the lyrics, go and sing it. And then there was a fear because some of the lyrical content was not what people were, you know, I honestly wanted to put the record out back then under, you know, the same pseudonym and just, you know, just put it out and be like, you know, whatever, let them discover that it's me. But that idea was kind of stomped and squashed and whatever. So yeah, Clarissa came in and we wrote like one of the songs together, and she got on the other records, one or two of the other songs, and yeah, but this was really just an outlet for me to just have fun. And yeah, there were a lot of big records that were in that genre, like that moment was very grunge moment. It was almost like a girls' Green Day kind of group moment. And of course there was the Courtney Love era of Hole and all that going on at the time. And you know, it was just like someone's ugly dog. I even did the artwork. The artwork for the album is like a dead roach and some lipstick. I don't know.
So we may get to hear this version you've unearthed.
I think this unearthed version will become something that, yes, we should hear, but also I'm working on a version of something where there'll be another artist working on this with me as well. Yes.
New versions of those songs, or
possibly something built around the album. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're full of surprises right now, aren't you?
Got a million clever ideas. Yeah. I'm just full of surprises. No, but that album has that used to be really like literally just driving around. Like it was I had no freedom during that time. That was my freedom. Yeah. Making that record gave me like, I would drive around with my assistant, like with the top down upstate New York, and be screaming the lyrics to these songs that nobody else knew. But you know, it'd be like it was my release, and it was just fun and literally like I started out like, oh, this is just for laughs, whatever, like we're having fun. But then I was like, no, this is me screaming. Like this is literally what I'm going through.
Mariah had chose the pseudonym B. Sue to release the project under, and it wasn't until 2020 that people found out it was her. The entirety of the album is available to stream here on YouTube, and you can very well hear Mariah's vocals layered all throughout the project. Released under the name Chick, the album received positive reviews from critics, and even had one of the music videos featured on an episode of Beavis and Butthead.
You know what this chick's name is? What? Her name is Chick. No, it's not. No, I'm serious. I've seen this before. Her name's Chick. That's pretty cool because, like, you know, you can remember her name, you know, because she's a chick and her name is Chick.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should change my name to Dude.
Yeah, or maybe you could change it to Dumbass.
Yeah.
Mariah has also contributed to the rock genre by covering many classics throughout her career from bands such as Def Leppard and Badfinger. She has stated that she was grateful for these songs due to the success her covers achieved and for the new fans gained internationally.
Well, Bring It On the Heartbreak was actually a Def Leppard single. It was their first single, and I've always loved that song. Like since I was growing up, like I thought it was an amazing song. And I think it's like when there's a song that you can do a cappella or you can do acoustically, it sort of transcends musical genres. So Randy Jackson, who has been my musical director for a long time, and I co-produced the record together, and we decided to try and do my rendition of it, which was more, we tried to sort of delicately orchestrate the record using live strings and using, different percussive elements that hadn't been on the first one, and the background vocals it was important that we the record had like a crescendo, so we started out, in one place and ended up in a really big kind of epic moment. I like it a lot because, when I do remakes, I usually do one per album. This is, a song a lot of my fans are talking about.
You remember the last time we went overseas and like the thing was without you.
I know. It was really an important song for me because it really took me to another level internationally. Like when we first went there and then after the success of that song, it's timeless, and it spans the world.
Despite Mariah's contributions, many rock fans despise the fact that she was nominated for the Hall of Fame. Whether it's misogyny, racism, or just plain ignorance, it's baffling to see the reactions of many people online.
Mariah Carey. Okay. All right. I've hated Mariah Carey since she first showed up on the screen.
Rhythm and blues, funk, not really rock music.
Next one on the list is Mariah Carey. What are you going to say?
I'm going to say a nay.
I'm going to say nay.
All right. Mariah was never my jam. And especially around Christmas time.
If this was the Rock and Roll Christmas Hall of Fame, yeah, of course, she'd be number one on the list.
But I'm going to say, take a back seat, Mariah.
I agree.
Mariah Carey, or Mariah Scary, as Michael Nolan calls her, no, no, no. Get her out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What a joke.
Mariah Carey. No, Mariah Carey is R&B and soul, pop and hip hop. You look up these names and that's what you find out about them. I am just so fired up and upset about this.
The dismissal was definitely felt by the people on the panel, because Mariah was denied for the second year in a row, despite being the most successful nominee. The Rolling Stones official podcast would even call them out, stating that Mariah was the one person out of everyone who should have hands down been inducted.
It's tough. I mean, I'm not saying abandon all standards. I'm just saying, to me, if Mariah Carey isn't getting in, there's a problem. Our colleague Lucia Paul wrote a great piece about this. What more do you want from Mariah Carey? And of course, I'm even more biased because Mariah was on this podcast, and I'm a huge longtime fan. We had a great conversation. And one of the things she talked about was this alt rock album that she secretly recorded in the 90s. And maybe if she releases her rock album like Dolly Parton, then she can get in.
Some people don't see it in Mariah. I think that's unfair.
I would bet that there's people, some of the older voters are in that weird, dismissive, honestly, perhaps a little sexist, racist dismissal of Mariah from the 90s.
Yeah, and they're so old that they were old in the 90s.
Right.
So when she was scoring all these hits in the 90s, they weren't into it,
Yeah, and they don't see that now she's this, sort of uncontested legend. If you're a 70-year-old music biz lifer, which I imagine there's a number of those on the voting ranks, you might be not fully conversant with the legendary status of Mariah Carey.
It's crazy to see her be dismissed, especially when the Hall of Fame's own inductees, such as Mary J. Blige, have stated that Mariah's music made them want to sing.
I read that you started singing as a kid in church and that you would also sing in talent shows. Was there some performance along the way where you started to think, hey, I think I can do this. I like this?
Let me see. I had performed at a club when I was a teenager. I sang one of Mariah Carey's songs. I think it was Love Takes Time, because I'm a fan of Mariah Carey's. I love her. So it was that performance at the club that night. The club was called Arthur's.
Help me remember that song. I can't remember that song. How did it go?
Love takes time to heal when you're hurting so much. Couldn't see that I was blind to let you go. I couldn't stand the pain. That one, her songs gave us a lot of hope. And I finally got a chance to tell her, you played a part in saving our lives. Little project kids, we had nothing, sometimes to live for, it felt like. And it was your music that saved our lives and made us want to sing because you were like an angel and still are to us.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has always prided themselves on celebrating innovation, influence, and legacy. Yet, they continuously snub Mariah, who embodies all three. Mariah Carey isn't just a pop icon. She's a musical force whose influence stretches far beyond genre labels. Whether you see her as rock or not, it doesn't change the fact that she's achieved more in the genre than several of the inductees. I believe that not only is her induction deserved, it's long overdue. It's wild to see an artist of her caliber being looked over. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have for today. If you made it this far, I genuinely appreciate you. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.